If you enjoy my work, please subscribe and like. Also, check out my Patreon for early access, patron bonuses, and stay sparkly. Street Fair, Book 2 of the Fairfolk Chronicles, written by Jeffrey Cook and Catherine Perkins, narrated by Fairy Princess Lolly. Chapter 5, Backstage. Mrs. Kahale was saying something, but Megan was watching for the sign. "Welcome to Fremont, center of the universe," it said. Despite not being that long of a drive, coming to the quirky artist's neighborhood had always felt like entering a whole different world. At least, until Megan had actually entered a whole different world that made this place look sane. A few blocks later was the statue of Lenin. She supposed some things about Fremont might always look odd, even after having seen Fairy. "Megan, honey," Mrs. K's voice cut through the reverie. "Could you make Mac a maze for his Legos?" It was a familiar request. Megan pulled the pad and pen stashed on the back of the seat and set to work, designing a maze with an outer border in the shape of a hard hat as she listened to Mrs. Kahale's reminders. "All right, girls, and Justin, we'll drop you off. Mac and I will run errands while you go to Kasha's band gathering and the other thing. And then we'll pick you up at the barrier on Finney at 4:30. "At the barrier on Finney at 4:30, Megan repeated in near unison with Lonnie as, within the maze, she carefully added some Lego hazards, like a Legoized Minotaur, in the dead ends. Mrs. Kahale continued, "Now Lonnie's got her backpack, but I know you'll probably want to eat at the other thing. Please make sure you get something sort of resembling actual meals, not all sugar." "Don't worry, Mrs. K," Megan said as she handed the new maze to an appreciative Mac. "If Lonnie doesn't have a food pyramid on hand, Justin probably has a cheese schedule." Megan grinned when Lonnie smirked at her. Megan's mother might object if she knew Lonnie's mother wouldn't be keeping a direct eye on them the whole time, even without knowing anything else. But they'd have her number, and she'd be close, in terms of the real world anyway. "All of you, stay out of trouble, be very careful, and don't hesitate to call if there's any problems, okay?" The three agreed, thanking her for the ride before piling out of the car. Justin was carrying a bass guitar case. Megan hadn't yet asked why. Kasha met them at the barrier, along with 3 other girls. Megan had looked up Kasha's band, sax and violins, but due to her mother's restrictions, their shows this weekend would be her first chance to see the band live. "All right, people," Kasha said. "Our show isn't until tomorrow, but we're helping out some friends. You, of course, know Violet Baptiste, the world's hottest fiddler." Kasha's bronze-toned hand clasped the slightly darker hand of the girl next to her, whose dreadlocked hair sported streaks of, predictably, violet. Megan had met Kasha's girlfriend in passing and nodded politely before Kasha's introductory attention moved to the other 2. "This is Nell, our lead singer," she said, gesturing to the tiny, delicate girl with long, chestnut hair. As Megan looked at her, the girl's visage shifted slightly, which Megan had started getting used to when meeting fairies and other inhuman folk. It was mostly subtle, but small details drew her eye, like the slightly webbed fingers, and the fact that Nell seemed to have a second set of eyelids, nearly clear membranes that closed side to side instead of up and down, under her regular eyelids. Megan wasn't sure what it meant, but apparently Kasha wasn't the only non-human in the band. "And Aaron, our bassist," Kasha added, pointing to a strawberry blonde with short curls, wearing horn-rimmed glasses, a Dresden Dolls promotional t-shirt, and cargo pants. "So you're Megan O'Reilly," Aaron said, extending a hand to Megan first. "I saw Late to the Party play on their last tour, one of my first concerts, and part of the reason I started playing bass. Your mother's work was, well, incendiary." "So I've heard," Megan said. The band members said their hellos to Lonnie and Justin as well. Then the lot of them followed Kasia towards the main stage. The rest of the band was hard at work around the stage when they got there. Katja, the band's second violinist, was talking with some people on stage, probably one of the other bands. The cowgirl hat Megan had seen on the tall blonde in all the band photos was there, but for setup time, she'd apparently exchanged the bikini top and denim shirt for a t-shirt and jeans. The last member of the band, who usually went by Chris on the album covers of their website, was off to one side of the stage, helping the roadies haul boxes. The short-haired drummer's arms were works of art, bright, tattooed sleeves, all accented by musical bars that wound around her arms with notes and what Megan suspected were lyrics mixed in. Given the completeness of the work, and hints of ink on the woman's neck, just showing over the collar of her black tank top, Megan suspected there was a whole lot more artwork covered up. Kasia went through the rest of the introductions, showing the girls around the backstage area and introducing them to a few of the other local musicians. When she got called over to offer her advice on a set list, Megan took the opportunity to talk to Aaron a little more. "So, how did you meet Kasia anyway?" "Through Violet. We went to school together here. We played a few gigs in the area before she met Kasia, and S&V started." "So you're going to be playing both shows?" Since Megan hadn't gotten any particularly magical or fairy-like vibes off of Aaron, she was trying to figure out exactly how the system worked. There were plenty of stories of humans pulled into fairy, but she hadn't seen any normal people, aside from Justin, to whatever degree a boy from centuries in the past was normal, when she was there. "Yeah, the band sort of knows what's up, but only the very basics, and we don't ask questions." "Why is that?" "Because that's one of the first things Nell told us, and Kasia kind of agreed. You'll find plenty of people in Fremont who believe in some very out there things. The idea that fairylands and whatever exist wasn't the biggest of shocks, but I believe them when they say we really don't want to know, or get more involved. We'll go, we'll watch the pretty lights, we'll eat what Nell says is okay, and we'll play. The rest of the time, this city is enough weirdness for me." Megan nodded. Center of the universe and all. Aaron grinned. Center of the universe. "So what's Nell's story?" "You'd be better off asking her. All I know is that she and Kasia have the same old country, and Nell likes to stay the heck away from anything to do with the place or any place like it. She lives a few doors down from me and doesn't go out much except to perform. Whatever she is, she has an incredible voice. I'm surprised we haven't met. You've known Kasia for a while, right?" "Since October," Megan said. "Lonnie introduced us. But my mom doesn't really like me going to concerts or other things like that." "Wait, Sheila O'Reilly? Seriously? Why?" Megan paused. The girl said they tried to avoid knowing too much. "It's complicated. She just doesn't want me getting into trouble, I guess." "Oh, okay." Aaron looked slightly forlorn. "When I heard you were going to be here, I was kinda hoping I might get a chance to meet her, too." "She doesn't really do shows. Sorry." They were going to talk more, but Kasia was calling, holding something in hand and waving. She stood next to one of the roadies, who had to be one of the biggest men Megan had ever seen, and the eye patch he wore didn't do anything to make him look friendlier. Megan headed for the pair, or possibly quartet. Megan noted that right beside Kasia was a basket containing 2 spotted kittens, one in an aviator helmet. "The boys are coming?" Megan asked. "Jude doesn't trust me to shop for his Pulp Flying Ace Adventure Hour records by myself." Kasia handed her a tan and green laminated slip of paper, bearing the words Backstage Pass. "These will get you through the gate and over to the market. Finn here will be keeping an eye on the passage a little. As Megan got used to the big man's presence and started to associate him with fairy things, like knowing where the gate was, the massive figure began to resemble the other trolls Megan had seen in Fairy. "Finn?" Megan asked, extending a hand. "So, you're the bouncer." The troll grinned, displaying a questionable dentistry and some jagged teeth. "Nah, just filling in. Mostly a roadie for Cass and Nell, and a model." He shifted the meat-laden sticks held in his hand to the other to free a hand, wiped it on his jeans, and shook her hand carefully. "A model," Megan blinked, looking confused. Kasha filled in. "Finn is very proud of having helped to inspire the sculpture under the Aurora Bridge." "Ah, that makes sense." Megan looked at Finn. "So you're an under-the-bridge type troll?" "Once upon a time," Finn said, smiling wryly. "Nowadays, I've got a great apartment. The upstairs neighbors are just noisy, but I like the place." He then glanced at his snack, shifting one of the sticks back and offering it to Megan. "Goat kebab?" No thanks," she replied. "We'll get something at the market." The troll nodded, gesturing for the girls, the kittens, and Justin to follow. Eventually, he led them to a door that should have led to a recessed area under the stage, hidden away amidst the sound equipment, crates, and instrument cases, to which Justin quietly added his. Megan wanted to remember to ask him about that. "Right through here," Finn explained, opening the door. Inside, at first, there was only darkness. When she started to see the reflected glint within the passage of the bluish glow of balefire, Megan knew better than to look. She closed her eyes and walked through the doorway.